The first time I got stitches was in my wrist, and someone actually stepped on my wrist, but on the, upper part of my side, on the side. But it didn't really stop me. I kept playing hockey after that in the same tournament. So
I haven't broken a bone, knock on wood, but I've been high stick a few times for stitches. I can't even remember. There's been quite a few times.
I was in grade 2, and I was on a deck watching my older brother's baseball game, and I stepped through a rotten piece of wood and got a nail into my knee, and I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. And I think that was the only time I really had to get stitches, knock on wood.
It's probably grade 2 or 3. I was on a crazy carpet, and we were going down at recess, and we would actually spray the hill to make it icy. And then I went flying into a tree, and I cut my head, and it looked worse than it was. There was blood everywhere. But I remember that, so I had to go to the local hospital, which was 20 minutes away, and get stitches. So that's the first time I had stitches.
The first time I broke my bone when I was maybe like 14 years old, and I broke my wrist. I didn't feel anything at first. It was like a little, not much in pain, but then turns out, I got the x-ray, turns out it's broken, so I was kind of surprised.
I only had 4 stitches on my body, and it's my 2 toes. And I was probably 13 years old, and I was going down one of those water ramps, or what do you call it?
I was broken bone, and I watching the soccer game, and I was behind the net, and I spoke with my friend, and somebody shoot the ball and said hands up, and I go like this and hit my hand, and I was broken bone here. And
how old were you?
I was 8 years old, and I go home. I drive the bike, and I'm so sore because the bike it sore my hand. It's okay. It's just, there's nothing special. I get sleep all night, and next day I go to the doctor. He said, you got a broken bone. It's but because I started summer, it was my bad summer.
Did you have a cast for the whole summer?
Yeah, all summer.
That's not fun, is it?
Broke my collarbone in, I think, minor peewee. It was my first AAA game, and there was 8 seconds left, and I felt like being a hero and hitting a guy at the end of the game. After I think it was like 8-0 or something, and turns out I break my collarbone.
Was it worth it?
No, not at all. It was an hour away from home. I had to drive in a little sports car for an hour to get to the hospital in my equipment, so it wasn't worth it at all.
I was probably around 10 years old, and we were just playing, it was in the summer, we were playing baseball. I was standing kind of right behind the guy who was swinging the bat, and he kind of swung the bat, and he dropped the bat like behind him. Not really dropped, he just threw it behind him. I was right behind him and got me here, 5 stitches. Really good memory. I was wondering why my head is screwed now. Maybe it's the moment. Yeah, that's the turning point. Yep.
Just got high stuck. The guy tried to lift up my stick and missed and cut me on the lip. And
were you a kid?
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
I was young. I was probably 5 years old, and it was my best friend at the time. Me and him were playing a game with a basketball, and one of us was holding a board like this, and the other guy was throwing the basketball against the board and hit it back. This guy threw it a little too high off the top of the board. The board bounced straight back right into the side of my head. That was that.
Oh man.
Yeah, I haven't played that game.
Oh, life in Minnesota.
I don't recommend that for young children.
I was in Rimouski Junior, my first year, and we were doing scrimmage, and I was in front of the net, and one of the defense, his name's Aaron Johnson. I think he's playing for Chicago now. He was playing with me at the time, and he tried to take my stick off, but I guess it didn't take any stick, and he put it right under my eye, so I got a big scar.
I don't know if you could tell by his pretty face, but lots of stitches. Knock on wood, no broken bones. But lots of stitches. I think I got stitches as a kid. Just playing outside, and numerous times since then.
My dad ran a hockey camp in Chatham, Ontario,
and it was kind of just a build-up all summer to this hockey camp. I was so excited. And then first day of practices and whatever, we're skating around, and we were told to go the other way. And I went the other way, and some guy didn't, and I ran into him and fell on my arm and broke my arm. And it was kind of ruined my whole summer.
Have you had his number ever since?
I don't think he made it past the first cuts of camp. Nobody's seen him since, because it was my dad's hockey camp, right? So he kind of just said, hey, get out of here, kid.
So you ran into him and you fell down.
Yeah. Well, I did the right. What? What's that supposed to mean?
I'm just saying.
I was a bigger kid when I was younger. But it was my body's proportion weird, so my balance wasn't the best.